This is Mike Cushenberry from Bicycling Magazine, and I'm here with Michael Zellman, SRAM's Road PR Manager, and we have a very special bike here. This is Lance Armstrong's Tour of California bike. It has a custom paint job, and it has some very special features within the SRAM Red group that he'll be racing on.
This is a standard Trek Red Series carbon Madone.
6.9.
6.9, off the shelf. The only thing custom about the bike is the paint job. This is a 30-hour Project 1 paint job done in Madison, Wisconsin by Trek. So it's a beautiful finish, obviously. I don't know if he's going to be racing this specific bike all year in terms of the paint scheme. He may retire this one to a shop or something like that, but I just know that this is his bike throughout the Engine Tour of California. Take you through a couple things that are unique. The 1274. That's the number of days of Lance's retirement from the last day of the Tour de France to the first day he raced the Tour Down Under. Specifically with the bike itself, SRAM related, is that you've got the SRAM wireless SRM here. Lance is going to run this on his road bike and his time trial bike throughout the Engine Tour of California, and he's going to take the weight penalty. It's a slight weight penalty to run the SRM, and this is not we haven't launched or issued this yet. This is a new product. Only Lance has it, Lance and Levi. But he wants to get numbers. Lance wants to get a measure of everything he's doing here. His power, his wattage, his efforts, and things like that. So really this is he's here to support Levi, and he's also here to get a good measure of his fitness and form. Lance also is very specific on his QFactor. So he had 0.5 millimeter spacers put in between his pedals and his crank because he has that width of his pedals. He's real specific with that. Lance is running the standard SRAM Red rear derailleur, 155 grams. He's running an 1123 cassette right here. He may obviously go up to an 1125, 1126, 1128 perhaps. They used in training last week for some of the hillier stages. He runs the standard SRAM Red brakes with the Bontrager carbon pads for the Bontrager Aeolus 5.0 wheels. A lot of standard Bontrager componentry on here. The Bontrager bars, the Bontrager stem. You see the gold bolt kit. That is custom for Lance. Nobody else has that in the world. Gold bolts on the front chainring as well.
Now, Michael, you mentioned a few specific parts here that are also unique to SRAM and Lance. Let's start with the front of the bike. He has special cables housing?
Yeah, Gore just issued us some new some cable and housing, and this is a semi-sealed system, just like we used last year, but it's a slight improvement. And these pro bikes, Lance Armstrong's bike gets washed all the time, rides through some of the worst weather in the world, and so it's just a little more durable system. A little more contained, provides low friction, and it's perfect for the Red system. Okay. So yeah.
And you also mentioned that there's something very special about his front derailleur that he has. It's different from standard.
Exactly, Mike. That's a good point. This is the SRAM Red front derailleur, but what's different about this derailleur is that it's a stainless steel cage. Typically, we have a titanium cage on the SRAM Red front derailleur, and this is the clampless front derailleur with the titanium cage is 58 grams. This adds a few grams, but what it does is it's a little more reinforced and provides more crisp shifting, just slightly crisp shifting with some of the chainring combinations these guys are running. With the big and the small chainring, they just wanted a little more. It's a little less finicky to set up, and it's a little more rigid in terms of the shifting. So it's a little faster, a little more what Lance and Levi require.
How about setup? Was there anything special that you needed to do with Lance? Did you need anyone dedicated to help him get everything dialed in?
Alex Wassman, who is my partner in the road team, has spent a lot of time with Lance. He went to the Tour Down Under. He's gone to Lance's home a few times, gone to specific training areas where Lance is, and helped him with his setup and helped him, get through some of the, just the short learning curve and things like that. But he's worked with Lance on getting the SRM set up, getting his Grupo set up. But the mechanics here at Astana, they're pros, and they're basically taking things now.
How big of a deal was it for you guys to have Lance riding your product? Was there any kind of decision that had to be made? Did he have a choice? How did that come about?
That's a great question, and it's a great question for Lance. But I've seen some of the video that Lance shot at the Tour Down Under, and basically, Lance is the kind of guy who has a bit of a choice in his componentry. He can take what he wants, and he does. He's pretty picky. But he had a choice to ride SRAM. He called Johan Brunel, asked him, "Hey, does the SRAM Red work? Does it really work?" And Johan was like, "Yeah, it works well. It works well enough for our team, Team Astana, who won 2 Grand Tours and the Tour of California last year. So obviously, it worked well enough for that." But and so Lance was on board.
And one final question: he's been involved heavily in development with all of his sponsors. Where do you see this going? Do you think that he'll eventually give you guys feedback, and we're going to see further developments with Red. Is that going to be something that is coming down the pipe?
Yeah, absolutely. Lance is now part of our product development team. In fact, he's one of the athletes, and we have quite a few athletes that we accept feedback from, that we look for. We ask them, what do you like, what don't you like? Give us some feedback on the shift levers or anything like that. And Lance is involved in that now. So he's providing feedback directly to Alex and to some of our engineers and things like that. So we'll look for him going forward to provide us feedback on all our SRAM componentry.
All right. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Michael.
Hey, thanks, Gush.